The onlookers screamed and raged through the circus, in the streets, and around the environment. They were obviously having none of it, having declared the elephant was a murderous, cruel creature who needed to be put down. Charlie Spark, watching the crowd turn into a furious mob, almost as if threatening to take the case into their own hands if no one did, saw an opportunity to invest in, and took the chance at it. Mary was a massive little-horned female elephant who was no stranger to the life of the circus showcase and knew just how to put up an act for the crowd to enjoy. Walter Eldridge, however, was a 38-year-old man constantly on the move, searching for his next home and meal, who had little to no experience on what it would take to run a circus, even less control a horse. September 1916. Charlie Spark was a prominent orchestra in a group of traveling circus performers. The group had made a parade for the townspeople of Little Kingsport, Tennessee. The circus had kicked off with a bang, with several performers of tricks and illusions, dance, arts, and demonstrations, and everything seemed to go well, for the time being. All you could really hear were cheers of joy and excitement. Charlie, for a while, however, had been searching for an act that would blow the minds of the people away and run miles to other towns, fostering new engagement and more money. He was aware he needed a new act, as the people would soon become fed up with the same old routine of each parade. The next events to take place would provide him with the much-needed opportunity. Earlier, before the parade had kicked off, Charlie had put Walter, a new performer he had scouted earlier, in charge of riding the elephant for display at the parade. Walter had felt a bit uneasy about riding such a massive beast, with the only experience of having watched other handlers ride them at other parades. Walter met up with Charlie to let out his feelings about the ride, but Charlie was not taking his complaints too seriously, cooling off Walter's anxiety, assuring him that as long as he had the stick used to hasten the animal, he was in full control. That did the trick for Walter, making him feel he was in control of the situation before leaving. Charlie told him that he was counting on Walter to give a great performance. After the parade had started and carried on for a while, performers from their own stages could hear a wild abrupt of screams and cries, far from the ones they were used to, which expressed happiness and laughter. These new streams of sounds were born of terror. Charlie, being solely in charge of the performing group, rushed to the scene to calm the crowd and figure out what was going on. On reaching, he froze at the horrible sight. Amidst all the screams, a disfigured face lay on the ground. Feet away stood Mary the elephant. Before the incident, Walter had done his job well, leading the animal across the path as the crowds watched in awe the massive beast. However, most elephants are known to be very short-circuited, and as an animal of the circus with limited rations of food, once Mary spotted a piece of watermelon on the ground by her spectators, she paused for a quick snack. Walter, seeing this, tried to hasten the elephant back to work. He was afraid this would impede the act. With his stick handed to him by Charlie, he went to work, slamming it against Mary's body severely for as long as she planned on stopping. The onlookers watched as the horrors of what a pissed and angry elephant was capable of, almost as if planned and plotted to the T. Mary roared in both anger and pain, rumbled her body, sending Walter falling to the ground, and then crushed his face right beneath her large foot. There was no hope for Walter. In an instant, he was dead. One couldn't even tell if he had experienced pain. Charlie, who was now present at the scene, couldn't think of an immediate reaction to the horrible incidents that had just taken place. He was afraid this would kill the hype around his parade and make people anxious about attending his circus. However, the crowd had an unexpected reaction to the death of Walter. Instead of running away in fright, the crowd of excited watchers soon turned into a mob with death in their eyes. Their chants for the persecution of Mary had drawn out even more people to spectate the incident. Charlie watched as the crowd roared insults and curses at the elephant, proclaiming her crime should be punished by death. In these times, the crowd could fully serve a criminal with mob justice and nothing else could be done. Charlie took a grab at the opportunity to turn the tragedy into one other of his showcases, which would go on to make history in the books. He devised a plan to have the animals hanged, and all his customers would watch for free. In return, he would be allowed to use a crane and railway for free. This was agreed to by the people. In Irwin, the neighboring town of Kingston, there was a 100-ton crane used to lift carriages on the railway. This was perfect for the job, Charlie thought. On the day of execution, Mary was brought to a railway yard, chained both by her neck and her feet, and slowly lifted by the crane 5 feet above the ground. During this process, the attendants watched as Mary wailed in agony, sounds of bone and ligament shattering. And if things could not get any more unfortunate for the elephant, the chains holding her by the neck broke loose, sending her falling to the ground and breaking her hips. She could no longer move, but it wasn't enough. Mary was once again chained in the same manner and lifted into the air. There she remained to wail in pain until she wasn't 30 minutes later. This was when a professional vet came to examine her and declared her dead to the people. Reportedly, a huge grave was dug where she was buried, but there has been no information on where her grave is. Irwin, however, grew in popularity, as many marked the town as the one where an elephant was hanged. And Mary the elephant would have her story told through history, earning her the title, the murderous elephant, or the first elephant to be hanged.